Now, Pat, let's get into the sportsbook plays, shall we? Let's look at DK Sportsbook.
Yes.
Let's talk through some first impressions. I'm not going to be super hard and fast on some picks right here, but I'm just looking at the board. Obviously, DB's Big Balls betting card, which is up, I think, 40 units since the start of this new season in 2019. We're up 40 units. Will be featured in the Chalk Bomb email that hits your inbox every Wednesday night of a PGA Tour event. If you want to subscribe, just go to tourjunkies.com. Bottom right-hand corner of any page, type in your email and subscribe to the Chalk Bomb. But that is where I will put my betting card for the week, and it will be a lot of fun this week to get that going. Pat, what do you think, man? I mean, as we look at the top of the board, you got JT at 9-1. Top of the board, you tend to love the shorter odds players, although you were not on JT last week, so shame on you. But who are your shorter? And I actually will give you one as well. I know this is a shocker, but I'm actually going to give you one short number as well. But I'll let you start and kind of work through this top range.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not really looking at, or too excited about JT at 9-1 or Brooks at 11-1. But when you get down to Xander at 18-1, there's some, it moved a little bit. It moved a little bit right there.
Ooh,
and
you know what? Mine did too. So both moved at the same time. That is the one that I had. Xander at 18-1.
I'm a fan of that. I think that is and you maybe put a couple units, maybe double up your units on him at 18-1.
Oh, I'll double up my unit on
that.
Xander at 18-1 for sure.
Yeah. And then Cantlay at 25-1. Those are the two guys that are, if we're talking less than 30-1 or so, those are the two guys that I like right here. Other than that, they're a little bit longer. And if you need me to get into those, I can, unless you just want to digest those two right there. But that's really who I'm.
I'll kick down. Xander was my one, 18-1. I like that. Berger at 30-1, is interesting, but I bet him like a couple of weeks ago at 50-1. So it's hard for me to look at that number and stomach it. So hopefully you got on that one earlier when he was 50-1. I guess I would start at Webb, who is a guy that I didn't really get into a whole lot in the DFS portion just because I don't know. I was trying to give you some different names, but I think Webb at 33-1 is, one where I would start. And then I don't really have anybody until I hop down to now Morikawa. I bet a couple weeks ago as well. I think he was at 50-1. So it's hard for me to look at him at 35, but a guy who we didn't talk about at all in DFS, I think Tony Finau, 45-1. I will bet Tony Finau. I will likely put a little something on I can't win for crap unless it's the Puerto Rico Open, Tony Finau, because I just feel like at this point he's trolled us all so much by nearly winning a regular ass PGA Tour event that the one that he wins will be a major. I just feel like it'll just be a major. And he plays well at majors. He does well at majors. So Finau's interesting. What else you got down here? I mean, what do you think about Abe Answer, 55-1?
See, I have Abe Answer listed down at 55-1. Now, there's some guys in here that, we talked about on the show that I'll bet, and then some that we didn't that I think are worth throwing a bet on. We didn't really talk about Victor Hovland. You mentioned him a little bit at the beginning of the show, talking about how much he's played lately. But I like him at 45-1.
Really?
I do like him.
I don't think he's going to win this tournament, man. Like, he's not going to win it. He can't. I mean, he shanked a couple of chips last week.
I know, and it's.
He shanked him. He's got to get that under control if he's going to close the door at a big event.
Everything else he's doing extremely solid.
He is.
Guys just off the tee approach, everything.
I'm not on that. I think he'd have to be like 60-1 or something for me to bet him.
Well, a guy you mentioned on the show as a fade that I think you could actually throw a few pennies down for a bet is Justin Rose, getting him at 75-1. I mean, this is a big number for him. A world-class golfer that has won majors. He's taken a couple weeks off. That could have helped his game. So you're getting a big number for Justin Rose at 75-1. I think that makes sense. And I just have a few more that I'll mention. I talked about English on the show. He's at 100-1. I think he's a good play. Longer than that, I like Adam Hadwin at 150-1. Just an incredible putter. He's been playing fairly well recently. And then my longest shot bet, you mentioned as well, and that is HV3 at 250 to 1.
Yeah,
I think that's
I saw that.
throw a little bit on it. I mean, the guy,
Yeah,
he could come out of nowhere and win this tournament. I could see him winning this tournament. I mean, he's been playing well. So
he's got the swag to win, to come out and win a major as well. I mean,
yeah.
the Genesis is a good field. That's a strong field. You know, he's competed in these things. So
Well, he's also 16 to 1 for a top 10. So if you don't want to go out,
I wrote that down.
I
Too.
think that's even one that you could really look at.
250 to 1 is a big number. You put a little quarter unit on that. You just need to throw a little.
And I got some other top 10s, but I can let you.
Yeah, I got those too. Let's hold off on those. I think Phil at 90 to 1. I'm buying into the Phil hype right now. 90 to 1 Phil. He had to watch Bones navigate the course all day on Sunday with JT, and there's a little beef there, I guess. I don't. He's just playing well. California. He's always loved Cali events. I don't know. I think Phil at 90 to 1 feels special. It feels tingly. Could Ryan Palmer win this event at 125 to 1? Nearly won the Memorial, had Rahm not kind of run away with it a little bit, which is a very tough course, tough field, tough conditions. I think 125 to 1 is an interesting number. Again, there are 115 guys at best that could literally that have a chance of making the cut. 115. There are probably 80 that have a legitimate chance of winning this golf tournament. So a guy who just finished runner-up at a tough golf course in tough conditions against a strong field just a few weeks ago, Ryan Moore, at 125 to 1, I like. Another guy at 125 to 1 that I don't have to really explain that much is Bubba Watson. We talked about Bubba in the DFS segment. You know, obviously a major winner can I think the right to left suits him here at Harding Park. And he actually plays well in California too. Even for a Baghdad, Florida boy, tends to play well in Cali. Another player that I mentioned, and to win, this would be tough, but Luke List at 175 is just something that just catches my eye. And then I had HV3 as well. So in terms of outrights, those are just some initial names that kind of pop for me. So there you go. Top 10s, you mentioned HV3 at 16 to 1. I like that. I like Joel Damon at 14 to 1. We haven't talked about Joel yet. We've shared a lot about Joel in the Nut Hut chat every week, and it's been pretty good. Last week was pretty good. And he played well last week. He just had a couple blow-up holes that really did him in. But 14 to 1 for a top 10, I like that. A guy that we've not mentioned for a top 10 that's even longer than HV3 and Joel is Cameron Tringali at 18 to 1. Tringali tends to be a, very solid tee to green, like accurate, great iron player, like really good iron player, like top-notch iron player. So if he can hit it in the fairway and use those irons to his advantage, drop a few putts, I think a top 10 for Tringali at 18 to 1 is a nice number. I don't get too chubbed up about, a 6 to 1 top 10. So there you go. That's it for me. And I do have one top 20 bet.
I don't have any top 20, but I'll give you a few here in this top 10 range. I think Doc Redman, who is a guy we've seen now, he hasn't played great in his last couple of events, but you're getting him at 20 to 1 to finish in the top 10. I think he could pop here and just have a good week, and has been a solid player since the restart for the most part. This is a crazy number for me. And look, he hasn't played all that great. Now, he did make the cut at the 3M, and I think he was like dead last week at the WGC. But he's still, a guy that's played a lot of majors, has a lot of experience, and that's Rafa Cabrera Bello. We're getting him at 28 to 1 to finish in the top 10. That's a big number for him. And then a guy, sort of a local Augusta guy that we've seen play well on the West Coast before. Pebble Beach, he won, things like that. Vaughn Taylor, 33 to 1, top 10. I could just see him sliding in, getting a little backdoor top 10. So big number for a top 10, I think, for Vaughn Taylor. Now, he's not long off the tee, but he is very accurate, good with his irons, pretty good putter. So I think he could make a little sense as just a flyer top 10 play. So there you go.
Okay. I had one top 20, and it was just a name that stuck out to me at a big number for a top 20 at 14 to 1. Keith Mitchell. I mean, maybe I'm a sucker for Keith Mitchell because I hit him at 150 to 1 a couple years ago to win the Honda. But, and he sucks on Bent and POA. He loves Bermuda, so that's not good for him. But he can have good weeks. I talked about Ryan Palmer playing well at the Memorial a couple weeks ago. Well, that same week, Mitchell finished 22nd at Jack's Place in a strong field, tough conditions, tough golf course. Finished 5th at Bay Hill earlier in the year. Another one finished 16th at the Waste Management earlier in the year. So I mean, he's got top 10 upside. So top 20 upside, 14 to 1 for a top 20 bet. I think Keith Mitchell is, just one of those names that can pop. He's either going to miss the cut or that's what he's going to do. Like, that's the thing. He's either going to top 25 or he's going to miss the cut. That's kind of his MO lately. And yeah, right now there just aren't a lot of matchups out there right now on DraftKings, but keep it locked to the Chalk Bomb email on Wednesday night. We'll have some matchup discussion and some more betting discussion, as well as obviously the Nut Hut. So there you go. There's the betting.